All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's like a freight train. It just doesn't stop coming. Here we are in the second round of the March Mayhem Tournament on Game Fight Show.
I'm Brendan Riley, and I'm excited to find out what game the voters will choose to win in this tournament today.
I'm Rob Huber, and I'm conducting myself in a very appropriate manner as I introduce our guest commentator, one Jason Brooks of Brooks Fun Games.
Hey everyone, this is Jason, and I'm just hoping this episode does not go off the rails.
Jason, in case our listeners are living under a rock and they don't know what Brooks Fun Games is, tell us a little about yourself.
Sure, absolutely. Brooks Fun Games is a design and publishing company, and we are about to roll out our first release late this year that was successful on Kickstarter back in November, called Legacies.
I think you mean extremely successful.
I will take that. If you want to use that adjective, I am all for it.
I insist. Yes, I mean, what an exciting game, what an exciting process to watch you complete, and I think it's really going to put you in the catbird seat for giving us some excellent insight into the exciting games that we have coming up against each other here in the second round of the tournament. We see Spirit Island from 2017 taking on one Gaia Project.
Rob, this is a really exciting matchup, and I'm keen to see how the listeners are going to decide between these two. You know, Gaia Project, often talked about as Terra Mystica in space. We talked about that a little bit in the first round. Really thinky game, really tough decisions all throughout.
No question.
Jason, you like thinky games. What are your thoughts on Gaia Project?
You know what? When I think about these two, it gives me so much analysis paralysis. I'm not even sure I would know.
Mm-hmm.
But really, when you told me I got to talk about these two competitors, I was just amazed at how much asymmetry there is going to be between the two of them. That I think even Picasso would be jealous about what we'd be talking about today.
Fair enough.
You know, it's a theme we keep coming back to time and time again. These matches all seem to fall either on one side or the other of the divide. There's nothing right on the fence post there. The games are either so similar that they fit like a hand in a glove, or in this case, you know, these are very different games, and it makes the decision so difficult for the voting public to decide which one of these is going to go home with the W today.
You know, I think Jason hit it right on the head with this comment about asymmetry. Gaia Project, of course, is a game full of asymmetry. Each player has their own faction that is going to bring different resources and powers to the board. Spirit Island, each player has their own special set of powers. So maybe even though one's a co-op and one's competitive, the voters can see some similarities here. When you pick up your player board in either of these games, you are bringing your own special set of circumstances to the table.
No question there. No question at all. You know, you speak about the player boards. Both of these games have some art that's, I think, probably worth spending a little time talking about. Gaia Project has exactly one artist listed in the form of one Dennis Lohusen, whereas Spirit Island, I don't know if you could fit all those people in an elevator.
Well, certainly not for our short episode.
But I have to say, 16 people working together to make a very attractive and cohesive looking game in one Spirit Island there.
Indeed. You know, Feuerland, I'm not going to say it.
Feuerlandspiel?
Yes, the publishers of Gaia Project, you know, they brought back the whole team from Terra Mystica when they made the new space version. And I think, you know, when you have a winning formula, you stick with it. But the people over at Greater Than Games, they really know how to turn out a nice product. And I think Spirit Island brings a different and very beautiful look to the table that is going to be hard for voters to ignore.
You know, once again, I am sworn to a code of strict journalistic objectivity, but I will tell you that I'm surprised at the positivity of my reaction to Spirit Island. You could almost describe the palette of colors being used there as garish, and yet I think they really pull it off in a way that's kind of impressive.
Say, Jason, you spend a lot of time on the art for Legacies. Can you talk a little bit about what publishers are thinking about when they are designing the way a game looks and feels?
Sure. One of the big things is making sure that you've got a clear vision for the overall impression that you want to give to your players, both when they look at the box and when you've got the game out on the table. And I think both of these games captures that well. Gaia Project with that futuristic spaceship looking out onto a world view that you've got almost like you're looking over Captain Picard's shoulder out into space. Whereas Spirit Island pulling together, even with those garish colors that you called out, Rob, pulling together almost a nice Hail Mary of beauty with that intricate amalgam of art that they've pulled together. But both of them, I think, capture the essence of what you're going to find and what you're going to experience once you open those boxes.
No doubt. No doubt. We've talked a lot about the art here. These designers deserve a little bit of attention here, too. We know that the team for Gaia Project, Brendan, you talk about them bringing back the same heavy hitters that had brought to us
Jen Strogan-Mueller and
Termistica.
Helge Olgastrad.
They brought them back. They had a great success with their first outing. And, why go to any great lengths to change that up? They didn't. They brought him back. But I'm going to tell you that our Eric Roos, no slouch here.
Oh, absolutely. And, Spirit Island isn't his first game, but I think it's his second game. And the only game on Board Game Geek listing for him of any note. This is really his first real step up to the plate in the big leagues, and he just knocked it out of the park. This is a game that's been popular and, made it through the bracket pretty easily. And then you look at Gaia Project, right? Gaia Project took out what I was seeing as one of the major favorites in the whole bracket. If people like Gaia Project and are voting for it above Wingspan, I don't know how Spirit Island stands a chance.
Yes, I have to say that was one of the upsets that really stuck with me from that first round is when, you're right, when Spirit Island took out Arkham Horror and then Gaia Project took out Wingspan, it was shots fired.
Indeed. Jason, are you leaning one way or another in this matchup? Or I'm curious, if we'd had the other matchup, Wingspan versus Arkham Horror, where would you be on that one?
Oh, wow. A parallel universe. If it were Arkham Horror, the card game, versus Wingspan. Wingspan was my most played game in 2019. However, Arkham Horror, the card game, does something for me that not a lot of other games do. So I actually would have leaned towards Arkham Horror, the card game, had those two been against each other.
Wow.
Yeah, but
bold call.
Not a lot of people tend to talk about the losers, so let's talk about the winners here. And I do have a leaning in this category as well.
Oh. All right. Well, don't keep us in
I'm in suspense.
Dish.
One of the things that stands out to me about both these games is just the extreme complexity, the heavy weights. Mm-hmm. You're looking at, on Board Game Geek, a 4.32 for Gaia Project and a 3.96 for Spirit Island. So it would seem like they're kindred spirits in that regard. What is uncommon, I believe, is I don't tend to see a lot of cooperative games with that level of weight. I think Gloomhaven might be one of those exceptions. But when I think of a cooperative game, I usually think of much more of a gateway game. Those that are going to be easier entree games, even when you look at a Pandemic. So with that said, I think that you would actually have a smaller audience looking at a heavyweight cooperative game like Spirit Island, even though it has so much to offer. So I lean towards thinking Gaia Project is better targeted to its audience and hits those heavy gamers like myself who love the thinky, crunchy games where you don't just walk away beating the game, but beating all your opponents as well.
No doubt. Well, and I have to tell you that this bracket, it's been a tough go for the co-op games this time around. Speaking of upsets, Blood Rage, Pandemic Legacy, no one's safe.
Well, Blood Rage is so far, but we'll find out soon how they did in the next round.
Well, it's another case where it's not in our hands, it's in yours. And the only way that you can make your voice heard is by going over to Twitter at GameFightShow and voting right away. Oh, there's the gong, and that tells us it's time to throw to Eleanor for the results from yesterday's big showdown. Oh, Eleanor, thank you for that. Another rough one that was. That's all we have for today, except to give our great thanks to our wonderful friend and commentator, Jason Brooks. Where can the good friends find you out on the internet, Mr. Jason?
You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, our website, brookspungames.com, and Legacies is also available on Kickstarter and pre-order.
You should go. Thank you, Brendan. Thank you, listeners. Take care of yourselves, and we'll see you soon.
Brought to you by
Rattlebox Games.